Hello and welcome to a Smurd P video, and we are here at the end of the Krakoa era with X-Men issue 35, the last trading card variant. And I love the fact that this X-Men team are on here. It may have been a team out of circumstances, but I think they did one hell of a job. Wolvie wasn't an exact part of there. I would have put... No, you got Talon there. Okay. But you had young Wolverine pop up at some point as well. And then it's just about them, really. And there were various others. That's basically what I was saying. So, and I bet I haven't got my camera in the right position. There we go. That's a little bit better. So, our story begins with... Previously on X-Men, there was a man called Xavier. He created a team and then ended up creating a world, and then it went wrong, and that man did some atrocities, which leads us to Wolverine going on the hunt to attack him and kill him. That's the idea. However, Magneto has paused Wolverine just as he's about to do the deed and says, you know what? This is a conversation between us. So he whisks Professor Xavier away and they start having a chat. And this is written by Gerry Duggan, Al Ewing, and Kieran Gillen. And then we've got Joshua Cassara, Phil Noto, Lucas Wernick, Lino Francis Yu, Walter Simonson, Mark Brooks, John Romita Jr., and Scott Hanna, Jerome Opina, Lucina, lots of other people on here. Otherwise, I'm going to be here all day. So, Magneto is now called Max, and it seems to fit a little bit more. And basically, he asks Xavier, how do we end here? And he says, well, you quit, you died, and I had to make choices. And then Xavier puts his spin on it, why he felt he had to do that. He couldn't sleep because even though they were creating this world, this paradise, we still had to have something like a pit in it that would hold the likes of Toad. And it was a brutal game of laws, power, to ensure mutant safety, instead of embracing the world, etc. So it's interesting that after all this, Xavier sort of gave this mutant paradise a go with Max or Eric or whatever you want to call him, Magneto, with Moira to create Krakoa as a way forward, taking the mutants out of the world rather than embracing the world, because that's what Xavier's original dream was, for mutants and humans to live together in harmony. And basically, in a roundabout way, Xavier takes it as, you've said Xavier was right in those thoughts. Let's get that up a little bit. So apologies, my voice started to go then. So it's an irony. So Xavier says, take me to my cell. However, there is some magic going on Krakoa. And Kafka, that's the boy's name who we left in X-Men Forever, has come back and brought back their spirit Krakoa. That's the only way I can look at it. And he's Cypher says, are you the leader? He says, no. Our Quiet Council doesn't give orders. The Quiet Council listens. That's why it's quiet. And it's quite beautiful, etc. So their version, so they're 15 years ahead of this Krakoa in the White Hot Room. So their Krakoa is slightly different and the language is slightly different. So they're being introduced to each other to rebond. And it may look like watching Island Sex, but they're definitely just gonna settle down once they've talked, etc. So they go to the council room, etc. Exodus is pleased to see an old friend, etc. And they start to talk about how they managed to do things, and in the time that they've been left alone, they've managed to bring Emma Frost's, well, not just Emma Frost's, you could say Magneto's 15 million dead Genosians back to life. So some way there is new breath in them, etc. They've also created their last flowering of the gates, and they are allowed to enter the real world again. So, which is grand. Now, there's another reason for Kafka's visit. It is the intention to take Krakoa completely out of this dimension and to the White Hot Room, which Exodus sees an abomination, and sort of attacks Kafka, where Apocalypse comes back, etc. And then we get them all on full alert. Apocalypse intends to stop Exodus so this natural being motion can happen. And he says, you're mine, you're always mine. So he's giving him that, and he intends to take it away from him. And I'm not sure whether he's actually killed Exodus here, but this little shadow here doesn't look too healthy regardless. So he's either been to a pulp or Apocalypse has finished him off. So some of the mutants that have come back intend to stay here. But what we learn as well, based on the way that Krakoa was being superpowered by everything, etc., it was damaging Krakoa's life cycle. And they start going on about probably very human things these days, sustainable footprint, etc. We're in it for the long haul to live like this, whereas Earth isn't, the culture isn't, it poisons the Earth, and that would include Krakoa, which probably actually makes a lot of sense. So Apocalypse wants to know more. Okay, so Kafka reveals that they have shared some of mutants' bloodiest moments and history into Wood, which starts to perhaps wind A up a bit, because he says, your past is our bloody history, and is reduced to sculpted wood, and that they do not follow the survival of the fittest motion, etc. And Kafka explains that it's not survival of the fitness who's the strongest, but survival of the best fit. In this context, they find themselves to choose what attributes are the best fit in terms of efficiency. Violence isn't the solution, etc. And we didn't come from this hell world that you've had to live in for so many years, etc. And what, we're thankful for what you've done, but we don't need your teachings. And Apocalypse takes us as a rejection, and which he doesn't like. His ideas weren't radical, and this will be a painful experience. So he gets questioned whether he's compromised. He is not. He saved Arako. He saved Krakoa. He's done all that, and all it's created in his mind is farmers that not the bearers of what he created. So this rejection sits deep with Apocalypse, and he's taken them all on. Rick tries to come in to talk him out of it, and there is a moment here where he says, "One day you understand, my pupil." So that's interesting. So that's set a seed for the future, etc. So he's not angry. It's just mere survival was never enough. and he tries to explain, you know, that you would rather rotate in the mystery of the White Heart Room rather than here and fight, etc. So he's got any mutant here ready to take him off. And Exodus is clearly back. We have Dr. Doom in the background. He says one of his X-Men down to collect a Krakoan seed, so that may play into future. It's been a long time since the original X-Men fought Apocalypse, but they get into it. Sunfire comes in. Apocalypse shrugs him off, saying he doesn't have the strength. However, Colossus come in and say, don't worry about strength, I'm here. And they beat each other until, well, Colossus cannot get up, etc. And he says, who will shape mutantdom for the next generation? Ask yourself, I have been hard on you, yes. And have I ever once lied to you? Well, that's a no. And Storm comes flying in, saying, Apocalypse will not speak. The resurrection has ended. And close your argument. I thought she was going to join him for a second. And basically, she says, close your argument against the X-Men. The children have chosen. So you get this moment, which I love, where Deadpool says, have you just tried to let Apocalypse have his own school? How bad could it be? Which is brilliant, you know. You can imagine that. That'd be quite cool and quite hilarious. Apocalypse school. So they're going for it, and he catches Wolverine out. Nightcrawler comes to the rescue, and I love this bit where he Nightcrawler, rather than killing him, takes his eyes. He also questions, you know, you say that our reluctance to kill or whatever is a weakness. It's not. So yeah, and even Wolverine is like, you know, you got what's it? You got I can't say the word. He tries to say that you know you did what you did. I liked my idea better, but he says, "Oh, I got eyeballs." So Wolverine's quite taken by that. Emma Frost comes in that, you know, you should not be dictating the terms of Krakoa to these children. They brought the children back from Genosa, and she gets quite taken out quite easily. And then Jean Grey finally returns. And all these mutants have returned. They haven't had to live with what we've lived with. Sentinels, Reverend Stryker, Orchids. There's lots of other things as well that could have been mentioned in that bit. They don't need X-Men like we did. And they make Apocalypse touch their minds, and he sees millions of minds, and it's Apocalypse's magic that has brought them back. And that holds sways over this undiscovered country, and then he just leaves after this moment, just like that. He's gone. Not that Wolverine was looking forward to round 2. So yeah, so what a way to sort of end this Apocalypse, you know. And that was always the thing at the beginning of, when will these villains become villains again? And is Apocalypse a villain now? I'm not sure I see him in the same way that I would off 5 or 6 years ago. So anyway, let's move on with our story. Okay, so we get Kafka and Nightcrawler spend some time towards the end of their journey. Kafka's more concerned about those remaining that have been with him for a while. Just wants to make sure that they're okay. Kurt actually apologizes for the way that Abe behaved and that how he almost killed him, but Kafka reassured him that they have good healers, and also that he's not surprised that it happened, considering the amount of time that they've had to fight, whereas we haven't. So the fight goes on anyway on Earth. The X-Men united, saying farewell to Krakoa in one shiny final moment, and tears coming down some of those eyes because it was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So ended the first Krakoan era. So, leaving it open for another one. Now, after stories. A is aware that the children have rejected him, and perhaps it's time to choose an heir, hence the series Heir of Apocalypse, which I was wondering how that came off, because such statements usually means that Apocalypse has died, and for a moment I honestly thought that Apocalypse died, but he didn't. Status, who I thought was dead, comes to save Mother Righteous, and perhaps they are ready to be together. However, no, that's the wrong page, I'm sorry. It is not meant to be, because Mystique gets revenge by killing Mother Righteous, because it was a mistake to make make me kill Destiny with it that one time. And then we get Professor Xavier, smug, in hiding, in a prison made of his own devices, his mind still free. In the background, we have a young mutant and a very, very creepy mankind hating mutant creature, person, whatever you want to call him. However, what if Xavier found loopholes to say no more? No more killing off mutants. In all those that despise mutants, a loophole. Fantastic. I'm not sure whether he jumps at that point or not, but, you know, he will make the most of this. He was hated and feared in a world that he loves, but it didn't love him back. It's quite poetic. Ooh. Okay, the next story written by the combined Chris Claremont and Salvador LaRocca, which is always a good combination in my books, is around Nightcrawler, Rogue, Destiny, and Mystique. And it's just about the relationship and those trust issues that are now there, because Kurt didn't know the truth, that they wiped him from their memories to protect him nonetheless. And we also learned that there were safeguards in place, so when Mystique met Nightcrawler, there was something that told her not to follow through with it, to realize who he was, etc. So like Trigger, we also learned that Xavier also put himself under the whammy as such, and so forth. And you know what? After such a broken relationship, it was always going to take time, but I think this is a start of a beautiful family reunion, which is hopefully lovely, especially as I've just done the wedding thing. They're all sort of together, so that's definitely a good start. Okay, and the final part of the issue is Xavier reaching out to his X-Men, but not his X-Men because, well, he's trapped, etc. So we begin with Scott, and we've obviously got Beast there. Next to him, I'm not sure how Beast's story ended up, but last time I saw he was a villain of the piece. Then we then see Rogue, who's about to make the second team as well, even though Gambit wants a nice honeymoon because Deadpool ruined the last one. Then we got Kitty Pryde back in a bar, makes perfect sense, and she's going to wield the third team with Emma Frost, if I remember rightly. And then we have others across the world. Storm's about to join the Avengers. Alison Blair is back on the stage. So some of these X-Men will feature in these books. Jean Grey is going to go out into the world. And goodbye, my children, Xavier says as he flatlines. However, has he flatlined really? Because this podcaster intends to reopen the school and make it something that is feared and hated. And we've already seen a glimpse of this character in the preview to, was it X-Men or Uncanny X-Men Free Comic Book Day, which I did a quick run through of. Xavier's not waking up. Well, there he is, woken up. So we've got X-Men coming out of the ashes, Jed MacKay and Gail Simone. That's the first issue. We've also got an X-Force, Phoenix, New York X, as well as Uncanny X-Men and Exceptional X-Men. So yeah, so a really wild ride. I've really enjoyed this. It's been great, and quite simply, the end.
So if you like my channel, please do support me by subscribing. Thank you for taking time to watch this video. If you've lasted this long, well done. Thank you to everybody subscribe. Please subscribe if you haven't. Look after yourself and embrace geekiness. Take care. Goodbye.